What's up everybody, we are back. Now in this video we're going to be discussing Capcom's support of the Nintendo Switch and what kind of support they plan to have or not plan to have. Anyway, well, we're going to discuss it here. And first things first though, I want to make something clear about my Resident Evil 2 remake video I did a few days ago. I was specifically saying that Nintendo needs to put the incentive for Capcom. I never said that I expected Capcom to port over Resident Evil 2 Remake for the Nintendo Switch. I said that that is going to have to be on Nintendo to try to get that game on the system, as unlikely as it seems at this point. So now that that's out of the way, let's talk about the latest information from Capcom from their shareholders meeting from June 11th. It's been translated and it's been put on their website. It's their 39th general meeting of shareholders, and they had a Q&A session about their support for other platforms and for the Nintendo Switch, and they had a very short question and answer for the Nintendo Switch in particular. The question was, I believe that if the number of Nintendo Switch units sold increases, it should positively impact Capcom's performance. What are your impressions of the Switch? Was the question. The answer was, we currently have Monster Hunter Double Cross for the Nintendo Switch and plan to continue developing other titles for this platform in the future. And then they quickly went on to a different subject about esports and taking advantage of connection speed improvements in smartphones, and that was all they had to say about Nintendo Switch. They were asked specifically about the Switch. They said basically that they plan to continue developing other titles for the platform in the future. So whatever that means, you can decide for yourself whether you want to believe that they're making games right now for the system, that they're going to plan on making games in the future for the system. That's fine, whatever. The point is that they didn't announce anything new for the Nintendo Switch at E3 2 weeks ago, basically. The only brand new games that Capcom announced was Devil May Cry 5 and Resident Evil 2 Remake for all systems except for the Nintendo Switch. So this is the continued narrative with Capcom. Ever since the Switch was announced back in late 2016, Capcom has said the exact same thing year in and year out. Here we are in 2018, already past the halfway point, and we have Capcom basically saying the same exact thing as they were saying back in 2016. And it gets even more interesting too with what the Wall Street Journal was reporting also just a few days ago concerning Capcom's support of the Nintendo Switch, and in particular Resident Evil 7 Cloud Edition for the Nintendo Switch. A spokesperson from Capcom said that Capcom will consider adding even more games to be streamed via the cloud to the Nintendo Switch in the future, depending on the success of Resident Evil 7 Cloud Edition on the Nintendo Switch. So they are currently in the deciding factors of whether or not that game has really been successful or not, which I haven't heard the game lighting up the fire or anything like that in Japan as far as it being successful or not. We don't have any information on that. But nobody's talking about that game for the Nintendo Switch as being some kind of huge success for the system in Japan. I've heard absolutely nothing about it. If you guys have heard something about it, let me know in the comment section, but so far I don't see anything really about that game that is appealing as far as it being a streamed game. I've heard various different reports. Some people have said it runs great in Japan. Some people have said there's still some lag in certain areas when you play the game even in Japan. And of course, if you try to play it in the United States, the game doesn't work at all. It just, crashes after a few minutes, stutters and whatnot. You can't play it. It's unplayable.
No deal.
But Capcom's saying like, hey, we'll be open to be streaming even more games to the Nintendo Switch in the future. That to me sounds like a cop-out. That does not sound like putting your best foot forward for a platform, saying, hey, we'll just stream games to the system. We're not going to actually put any effort into actually developing real games, cartridges, for the system for you to be able to download and keep for yourself, or to be purchased from the store and have a physical copy for yourself. Because remember, Resident Evil 7 Cloud Edition is only a temporary purchase. It is a rental. Once your time period expires, the game simply goes bye-bye, including your save most likely will be erased as well from the server. And of course, there's also that warning that you could lose your save data while you're actually paying for the game itself, while you have that rental period going on the trial. So just like I said in my other video about Resident Evil 7 Cloud Edition, I do not support this at all. I think it's a terrible idea right now, currently. Like I said in the video also though, I do believe there's a future for cloud gaming, but it is simply not right now. and definitely not with a system like the Nintendo Switch that is made to be taken outside your house, where you will lose your internet connection for a period of time, and it will interrupt your gameplay if you have any type of streaming service going on directly to your system. And you do have to have a fast internet connection to have a lag-free experience. You could have 720p 30 frames per second maybe on a decent internet connection, but once you step outside your house and maybe you're tethered to your cell phone, at least here in the United States, the speed varies all over the place, and as far as you having a good connection and not having interference from other connections, it's simply not a reality yet in the United States, and I don't think it's a reality yet in Europe either. I do think it's a good fit for Japan because Japan has one of the fastest internets in the world in their country. But as far as everyone else and across the world, the United States in particular, the speed varies all over the place, and it's really not a good fit right now. The future maybe, I'm not ruling it out, but right now I think it's a terrible idea, and this is a cop-out decision by Capcom saying, yeah, we know, we plan to bring other titles to the system in the future. We've got nothing to announce, but we'll see about the future. If Resident Evil 7 Cloud Edition is successful, well, we may stream some more games to the system too, who knows? Realistically though, this doesn't sound like a very good message from Capcom, and their wording on the Nintendo Switch officially from their shareholder meeting was extremely short, and basically their support is with continued development with Monster Hunter World, promoting Street Fighter, and of course the new Resident Evil 2 remake and Devil May Cry 5. Those are their key priorities right now. Nintendo Switch seems to be the last priority for them. Not first, not second, maybe not even third. Maybe PC is over the Switch at this point for Capcom, who knows? But the Switch is definitely not their big priority at all. Now, there was a rumor going around on Nintendo Everything. There's a tweet in Japanese that someone attended the Capcom shareholders meeting, and they said that Monster Hunter World is not coming to the Switch. They reiterated that. But they seemed to get the hint that Capcom was going to continue to bring perhaps a future Monster Hunter game to the Switch later. However, this was not on the official documents, and it was not on Capcom's website. So that should be taken with a grain of salt, because it is simply hearsay from someone who says that they were there and there's nothing official. So yeah, we may see another Monster Hunter port for the Switch in the future, but right now we're not seeing the latest Monster Hunter game, which is Monster Hunter World. So the planning and messaging for the Nintendo Switch from Capcom is very vague, and it doesn't really look like they have a very solid plan, and they've been saying the same type of thing year in and year out. Hey, we're still trying to figure out the Nintendo Switch and what games will fit on it. We just don't know yet, so we're just going to keep porting some old games to it and see what happens. They ported Mega Man Legacy Collection, a bunch of classic games from long ago, and they're porting Okami, which is over 10 years old. They ported Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2, which both are pretty old as well. Resident Evil Revelations is 6 years old, and they recently released the 30th anniversary Street Fighter collection for the Nintendo Switch. A bunch of old classic games, great collection, but still old classic games. So as far as what Capcom will bring in the future for the Switch, I would not get your hopes up for anything huge right now. Obviously, they haven't announced anything big already, and they haven't really announced anything new either. And the only new game they have coming out in the not too distant future is Mega Man 11, coming in October, and they aren't even releasing the amiibo or a physical copy of the game in Europe or the UK, which I did a video on as well. So I want to hear what you guys think about all this in the comment section. Are you confident in Capcom bringing some great games in the future for the Nintendo Switch? Or do you think this isn't very good news that they're saying these type of things right now after E3 when they just announced two very big games for all the other systems except for the Nintendo Switch? Alright guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. That's going to do it for this video. If you did enjoy it, please hit the like button, subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you very soon in the next video. Have a great day.